See ya. All right, everybody. It is Tuesday, April 5th. This is Draftbit office hours. I'm Dave. I'm joined by Rahul, our lead success engineer, and we're gonna take some questions and talk about stuff and all that. So, um, looks like we've got just it's just us so far. Looks like I don't see
Hmm.
Michael. I mean Sean or Carl. So let's
Yep, and
go
we
ahead.
have Amit as well.
Oh
So we
yes,
have
admit.
all our folks here.
Yep, it's just the insiders club so far. All right, well, we'll wait a couple minutes, see if some people show up before we get started. Amit, would you like to come up and say hi, or you happy there in the chat?
And we have Sean too. Sean, if you want to come up, or Carl even, like if you want to just have a chat or, just talk about things drafted, we are happy to do that as well.
Yeah, I don't think they're here yet still.
Oh, okay.
Well, all right. Rahul, do you want to do the thing about redirecting real quick, and then that way I can jump in to build because I'm probably going to take longer
Sure.
if you
So,
want to show
yeah,
that.
definitely. So let me like get things set up first and kind of explain what's happening. So so a user asked us a question about how we would clear text inputs when we are navigating away from a screen or when we are navigating on a screen. So like these are the two new things that we can do without any code now, which is really cool. Like before we had a lot of code that we need to write to clear those input fields depending on if the user was navigating away from those. So let me just quickly open a demo app and then I can show that to everyone live. Inputs, continue. Okay, I'm going to share my screen now.
Yep.
And let's try it out. So just so that you all know, this is the first time I'm trying this out too. So if there are hiccups, just feel free to enjoy it with me.
Hey, Carl
Uh,
made it. All right, Carl. We were wondering where you were.
hey, Carl. So yeah, so basically I'm setting up the screens. So for now, for the purposes of this demo, I'll just have two text input fields. And I'll show you how I set those up. So what I usually do is rather than using the default text input value, I like to create my own string variables for these. Which is pretty cool. They're already here. So yeah, we can just go right along this way. I think this is a new update, right, Dave? Like before, we only had like one text input field when we added a text input, but
Yes,
now,
yes. Now, yeah, now we create a new variable for each one, screen variable. So you're ready to go.
cool. So I'll have a button here just to do like a submit action. And then, so first of all, what I'm going to show you now is how you would clear your text input fields after doing your API call or whatever you want to do with those input values. And then what we will want to try and do is we want to clear those variables before or even after we navigate away from the screen. Let's test out both the use cases. I think they both will work the same way, but just so that we have something to do. Um, so here are my two text inputs, button outline, and then what I want to do is I want to navigate to my other screen, and on my other screen, just so for the purposes of that we are doing something, I'll just say value 1. So whatever value is in text input 1, we'll show it on the other screen, and I can give it text input value 1, and then I can have another value 2, and this would take text input value 2. So these are parameters that I'm passing to the other screen with the navigate action, just so that people were not aware. And on my blank copy screen, what I want to do is I'll have just one text input field, like one text field, and we'll just display both the variables there. So I can do two temporary variables here. I can call it val, and I can do and val2. So I'm taking my parameters from navigation, so the value and value 2. So right now it's just going to be and because these things don't have any values yet. And now on the text input field, on my button outline, sorry, I'll just say submit. Feels better than writing get started. So when I'm navigating, what I want to do, so usually what will happen is like you will have an API request here, you'll do an API request, and after you do your API request, then you want to clear those inputs, right? You don't want to clear those inputs before your API request, otherwise the data that you are sending to your API request will be empty. So then I'll do a set variable action, I'll choose text input, and I think I can just leave it blank. That should technically work, but we'll try it out. And just so that it's more of a demonstration, I'll just do it for the one text input and see if the other text input is still populated when we are here. I think this should all work as it is now. Oh, so if you guys notice, it wouldn't work because I want to send this text input value to the second screen, and if I'm clearing it out before navigating, that would become null. So I have to move it below the navigate action. And this is all like learning on the spot, so let's see what happens. So I can say Dave, Rahul. Okay, that doesn't seem right. Let me just double check that. So it's a text input value. Text input value 2. Okay,
Are
no
they both
worries.
assigned the same variable though? They're up. I guess.
Oh, so in the screen variables we have two. So there's text input value and text input value 2. And when I'm writing something in it, it's setting text input value, and then this one is setting text input value 2. It seems correct. So let's see what's happening. Let me just try and rename and give them new variables. Value 1, save. Then we'll do value 2, save this one. So rather than using the default values, I'm trying to use the new screen variables that I've just created. So this will be value 1. And if I write something here now, okay, looks good. I'll do value 2. Okay, looks good. So things that I will have to change now is basically I'll go to button outline, and rather than setting the text input value, I'll just change it to value 1. Test it out again. Looks good. All right, let's try it out. So I can say Dave, my name, and then hit submit. And obviously I was missing something. So over here, I would need to select the text component and then change this to, oh, this looks right. So, oh, okay, see. So this needs to be changed as well. So this will be value 1, this will be value 2, and let's give it another shot. So we would have Dave, and this time I'll use Amit. And I still didn't get those values. Let me just quickly refresh. So on button, I'm passing value 1 and value 2. On my blank copy screen, I have a text component that takes value and value 2, which looks correct. And I'm just displaying those values here. So let's go back and try it again. So go to the blank screen, enter a value here, and they would be like, hey, don't waste my name by putting in so many times and you can't even pass it.
No, honestly, I'm just thinking like you don't even need this part, like because all we need to show is that we're clearing the inputs when we go to a new screen, right? Just put a back button and go to a new screen that's blank. I mean,
Oh,
right?
okay. Yep,
Like,
that's right.
I
And
mean, yeah, don't. I mean, you got it working. Yeah, that's good, but
yep, and okay, so this is still Dave and this is still Amit. So okay, so this proves the point that the values are persist. Like they persist even after you go to another screen and come back to that screen. And now we want to change those things. So let's go here, set value, value 1, which is correct. And let me just give it, maybe this should work. So technically what I'm doing is after navigating away from the screen, I'm changing the value. So if I hit submit and then go
I'm
back,
not sure. I'm not sure if it will clear it after you navigate. I think you might need to do it before you navigate.
correct. So let's try it again. Submit and back and refresh. Okay, let's try it again. And hopefully, so I'm setting the value 1 to be 0, sorry, to be empty. And then I'm navigating to the blank copy screen. So submit, and for some, oh,
There it
there we
went.
go.
Yep.
It worked. And cool thing about this is I just realized is it still sent those values. And just to try it, let me see, try, and it sent those values to the other page and then also remove them. So yeah, that's one way. Sorry about this taking so many tries, but let me just recap this for whoever is watching so we can put this part as like a tutorial. So what we are basically doing is we have a blank screen. We have two text input components. They have their own state. You can set state from the string variables here. So you have value 1 and value 2. That's the states that I've added. And then we have a submit button here. What it basically does is it navigates to another screen, and it also clears the values in one of the text input fields. And for a more complete demonstration, let me clear the other one as well. So I do value 2, and then the new value will come this. And just out of curiosity, again, sorry guys, I want to move this after I navigate, and let's try it again. So hopefully, hopefully this would work. So if I submit this, hope and fully are here. Let me go back. There we go.
All right.
So both the values got cleared. Um, the reason I kind of did this is because, again, like I think a proper way of doing this would be having this before the navigate action, because that's just it's just better programming that you want to clear your inputs before you navigate to another screen. And so this is done. So this was one way of handling these things. The other way I wanted to show you was basically what I'll do is I'll remove those clearing actions from here, and then on my blank screen we can use this new on-screen focus trigger and do the same things that we were doing with the navigate action stack on a press of a button. So this would be without a press of a button. So as soon as this screen comes into focus, I want my new value to be empty, and same way the second value to be empty as well. Oops. So now I can put any value and submit it. Any and value are here. So technically if I go back now, they should be empty. There we go. So
Awesome.
basically what this did is, uh, when the screen got into focus, we ran these set of actions, which is clearing both these inputs. And so that's the use case basically. It depends on you what you want to do. Like if you want the on-screen focus or if you want to do it through the submit button, you have both ways to do it. And that's what I wanted to share. And if you guys don't have any other questions, we have a fantastic demo by Dave, and he'll show you what he's working on, which is pretty cool. And I'll be using those things in my app as well. So you have the
Very
floor,
nice,
Dave.
Rahul. Thank you. That was great. It was good to see you work through it, and it was good to know that I can set the variable after I navigate. Although I don't know how I would do that, but it's good. I thought you would probably need to do it beforehand, so it's good to
Mhm.
see that it can go either way. Carl has stacked up a couple of questions here, so we'll see if we can
Oh,
start those real quick. Um, he says, I can't change the text styles for stack navigators. His one of his stack navigators has a 1 point letter spacing and he can't change it. Have you
um,
Carl,
sorry.
is this when you're using the like a custom function to update or a custom component to update the stack navigator? Nope, just the standard nav design options. All right,
Uh,
I'm gonna bring you up. Is that okay, Carl? Okay. It'll be
and
easier to just
Carl,
have him show us.
yeah, definitely. I think I'm aware about this issue, and I kind of know what's happening here as well, Carl. And again, apologize for the delay in resolving this issue, but we have this bug filed. Hey, Carl,
Hey guys.
good to
Good to
see you,
see you,
man.
man. Yeah, we missed you. You haven't been around as much.
Yeah, I had a wedding in Costa Rica the last couple weeks, so it was a nice little break.
Cool.
Let me share my screen here. I think it seems like a bug. I don't know if it's me or a bug here, but last time there was an issue sharing my screen and Brave might be happening again.
Oh,
I can try.
if you want, I can open your app, Carl. If you give me permission, I can share my screen and open the app and
Okay.
show everyone what's going on. Just give me a couple of minutes. I'll bring in. Whoa, what happened here?
Well, I thought you were going to your screen.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm just finding a link to Carl's app first. If you have it at hand, oh no, it's fine. I don't want you to share it on chat,
Okay.
anyways.
And while you're finding that, I don't think I put this in the questions, but Dave, so I updated all my navigation to be like you sent a response to a post to be like main app stack, main tab, home stack, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Works great. The only thing is, like, if I go from home to a single workout post, then the label on the back says go back to main tab, just because that's the name of the tab.
Right.
Would the simple easiest thing to be just change that, or because it should be? I want to go back to home, show home.
Okay, so Rahul might have some info on this too, but you can, like, in some situations, you have to turn off the header in the navigator, and then even if you just have single screens in that navigator, you still want to put each screen in its own stack, and then you give that stack a name, if that makes sense. Like, okay, in a tab navigator, you can't give a page a header, but you can if you put it at that screen inside of another stack. So like you would have a tab navigator, and then you would have one stack navigator with one screen in it, and another stack navigator with another screen in it. Does that make sense?
So I would have main tab with like home, account, stuff like that.
Right.
Right now I have a
Each
home stack with like set goal, member profile, list of followers, but I would have another home stack with only home.
just to give it a header, just to be it like in some of the navigators, you don't have control over the header, right? And I think it's with tab navigator, if the screens that are inside a tab navigator, you can't control the header, right? But you can if you turn off the header for the tab navigator and put the screens in their own stack navigators, then you have control. I know it's like convoluted and not very clear, but play around with that and see if you can get what I'm talking about. I'll try to send you like a simple demo app later if I can.
Okay, yeah, I can't wrap my head around that right away because
Okay.
I can't
Okay.
like home screen under multiple things, right?
Right. Well, I mean, you can. I guess I need to see what your navigation looks like now to
Yeah,
maybe when Rahul pulls it up, I can take a look.
Yeah.
sure.
Otherwise, I have this in a Notion doc that I can share you.
Okay.
Love the Notion docs, Carl. I can share my screen now, and
Okay.
probably yeah. Let me know. I'll show you the navigation panel, and then I think yeah, it'll be easier to explain what Dave was saying. Um,
So
so
check out menu stack towards the bottom.
yep. And you said you want to update this, right? Line
Yeah,
spacing.
yeah. 1 point should just be auto.
Okay, it should be auto. Okay,
Delete
there we
it or
go.
0. Either way.
There you go. So, and let me just refresh this just to know that it it actually updated.
Yeah. Or
Menu stack.
yeah.
Yeah, it
There we
didn't update.
Hmm. Is that the problem you're talking about? You can't get it to go away?
go. Yep.
Oh, okay. I thought you just couldn't set it, so it's stuck at 1.
Yeah, and sometimes I think this. Okay, so that's default semi-bold, but I've had the same thing with like regular font switching to semi-bold, and the same thing happens. And line height. So all 4 of those. I think size actually.
You know what I just realized too, like Rahul, isn't that
Mhm.
font input different than what we are using now for typography? Like it should, I don't think it should say default, right? It should, or maybe it's different for header. I guess maybe we only offer certain,
Right.
it might,
I
yeah.
can quickly. Yeah, that's a good point. Let me quickly check that in for newer apps and see what it looks like. But I know what you mean because his app was basically older than when we released those new fonts, right? So it might be using the same old ones. I'm just quickly checking in another app if we do have those options.
Also, if you spin up a new app, does it have that 1 point already set the same way as in Carl's app?
Uh, yeah, that's an interesting question too. Let me do
I
that here.
I can check that if while you're doing what you're doing.
Okay. Um, so this is auto, and then I'm just gonna change it to
Oh
default.
yeah, it does. It has 1 point uh, line spacing by default set, and then if I change it and refresh, yeah, it goes back to 1. So that is a bug, no doubt.
Okay, so that's something that's in your new app as well, right? So it's not just
Yep,
limited to Carl's app. Okay.
yep.
Cool.
Uh, Thanks for pointing that out, Carl. We will definitely get that sorted.
Okay.
Uh, One thing that since we are here, just want to know and let everyone know that since we kind of released deep linking, uh, so now we don't allow you to have a, a screen in two separate navigators, right? I'm sure most of the people are aware of it, but I just want to make a note of it and just mention it again because some of the older apps they do have that problem. Like before there was a way of you can add the set goal screen in your home stack in your main tab, and like you could duplicate it or repeat it so many times in all your stack navigators. That's not an option anymore now because of deep linking. We want one screen to have only one address. We don't want that screen to have multiple homes because then we would have to kind of find out which home do we want to send the post, like when we are deep linking to something. So we need to make sure that they only have one address. So we need to get to that address rather than having multiple places. Um, so I'm just like, what I'm checking here, Carl, is like, is there any screen, your older screens that you have that might be repeated somewhere in
I
in
don't
your
think
tabs?
since
You don't
I
think so?
kind of redid it after Dave helped me with the history type
Okay,
now.
perfect. So yeah. So is there any other problem on your app that we can do here live?
Yeah, let's do the next one. So this is
He's
a
got
query
okay.
React issue. Best shown on the home screen.
Home screen. Okay.
So there's like up to a 1 second delay, which I know is just part of React query.
Hmm.
When you click like or unlike on a post.
Okay.
So yeah, for that top post. And I tried to get around this by having a loading activity indicator when you click. So basically you click and it hides the like unlike and it shows the activity indicator. Then when the request is done, it hides the activity indicator and shows the like or unlike, which works fine.
Oh.
And it takes,
Hmm.
up to a second. But yeah, I can't just chat. I just can't send you that, can I, Raul?
You can send it to me on intercom because I thought I remembered it, but it's been a while. Uh,
Yeah. I'm not seeing the intercom button in the builder right now. Are you on
oh,
that Slack group?
I don't think so, man.
I don't know
But
if I'm even using that, but
wait, let me quickly find you on Slack and add you. Probably
okay.
that would work. Uh, there we go.
Okay.
Perfect. Oh, I think I've got
Oh,
the username wrong.
at hi.so.
Oh, okay. Carl at hi, that's hi.so, right? Or am I doing it wrong again? This is one.
I mean,
Do I need to
oh,
refresh it?
sorry. It's hi at carl.so.
Oh, gotcha.
Okay, there we go.
Okay, so you want me to press the like button?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. But did it actually like it or
No,
not?
it
Not
should
100.
have a blue background when it's liked, which you might see now. Oh, there's a delay sometimes. Try if you click it again, you'll probably get 500 error. But
What happens if you do this on a device like a physical phone? Same delay?
same delay. Well, I can double
Yeah,
check that.
there we go. Now it showed up. That's I like the animation there. That's pretty cool. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so it should dislike it. Yeah, this should go back to 0.
What's your query look like on the back end for that unlike and like action?
It's a Xano. I tested it, and it's definitely less than a second. It's like it's maybe a quarter of a second max.
And this is like get many or is it get one? Um,
That's a good
in
question.
the
Can I see what's going on when you click that button? Like, can I see
sure.
the action stack that's being run when you click the like button?
Sure. So we go to home. Actually, it'll be easier if I can show it here. But it would probably not load. Okay, it did. Perfect. So let me select this. It should technically select.
The object and role for that, the object is actually proofs, and it's
Okay.
create. For
And
the
it's what?
add like and for delete, it's the same thing. Delete proofs. Because
Aren't proofs like what you call
like
posts or like
work,
photos or
yeah.
workout? Okay.
But so I
So
have
so what are
likes.
you doing on the back end though? Like when you click that button, you're sending a put request to update a column on a record.
Nope, there's a like table, so it creates a new like, or it finds that existing like and deletes it. So the create a new like should be super fast, no big deal. I could see the delete like being slower because it queries all of them, which I could change probably. But actually, I don't think I could. But it still runs pretty fast in Xano, and I'll give you the number for that one.
Carl, you have your backend open at the moment, right?
Yeah.
Like you have Xana open? Okay. So what I was thinking was I will make a request here and I just want to see how quickly it gets updated in Xano. I don't know if that's going to help, but
Okay.
just want to make sure what's the timing is like.
Are you gonna add a like or delete one?
Let me see what the first post looks like. Okay, it has a like. So if I find a post that doesn't, okay, this one isn't liked. So let me. Are you like? Do you have your Xano backend open?
Yeah, I can see the request history.
Okay, perfect.
So most of the ad likes are like between 0.1 and 0.2 seconds. Most of yeah.
Okay. and when I dislike it,
Dislike. Most of these are between 0.15 and 0.7 seconds. Usually 0.15. Like the one you just did was 0.18 seconds.
How are you determining when to turn off and on that progress indicator or the activity indicator between states?
There's a screen variable called activity indicator. So when you first click like or unlike, it changes that to true. And then the request happens, add or delete, and then it changes that to false. And then, so that's like one component section. And then the other component sections, which may or may not be nested, no, not nested, are show the like, which is a view, and show the no like, which is a view. And those only show if the activity indicator is true. So you click it, activity indicator is shown, and the like, unlike is hidden. And then activity indicator is hidden, the other one's shown.
Okay.
Dave, do you want to see anything else in the
Well, the
action
reason
set?
I asked about that is because I'm wondering, like, would it look like it's taking so long if you weren't showing the activity indicator? Like, I'm just wondering is it just a visual delay or is it actually like a delay in updating the data?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I added the activity indicator to try to get around this slow.
Okay, gotcha. Just to make it more acceptable. Yeah.
Query React and Xano won't be like instantaneous.
Right.
But even it's weird if there's even like a half-second delay, which is some of the like the longest delete is like 0.71 seconds, and that's even too long. So I was like, okay, even if React Query was super fast, Xano's still too slow for that. So I'll show
I still feel like, I mean, I could be wrong, but I still feel like it's probably how you're querying and updating your records.
I could see that maybe for the delete, because you have to find all the delete records or all the like records on a post. But for the add a like, it's just simply creating one record.
It's putting a record in like a pivot table that says like user ID and proof ID, and then you're populating that table. That's a like table.
So there's a proofs table and then a likes table. The like has, created at user and the proof. So it adds a like in this just plain table, and then the proof, when it's on the wall, it basically looks to the likes table to see like, hey, has the user liked this thing?
Mm-hmm.
If so,
do you attach that association to the record when you return it rather than making an additional query for each one of these records? Like as an add-on, do you add for the proof whether it has a liked state or not, so that you're not doing an extra query on each record to find that information?
Yeah, it's an add-on
to
the proof that basically says, like, true, false, is this liked by the user or by the auth user?
Gotcha. Okay.
So did you guys see like the activity indicator? It might be a little bit different than when I did this morning, but when you click it, you get the activity indicator that finishes, and sometimes it's like pretty fast, like it was almost instant, and then other times it's really slow, and other times it might be like 5 or 10 seconds even before that's shown, which was not happening when I didn't have this activity indicator, which doesn't seem like it would affect anything other than like.
Yeah, I'm not sure, man. Like, I might have to get with you and maybe take a look at your actual Xano setup if you're comfortable with. Well, I know we discussed that at one point, so I might need to just take a look at what you're doing and see if I could at least point you in a direction. I still feel like it's associated with that because I've done something similar to what you're doing in an app where I like there's tasks associated with the user, and then I pull up a screen and it's got the user's info and all the tasks, and when I click to toggle those tasks, it's like it doesn't take there's not a delay, so I don't know. Maybe Rahul can look more on this end in the builder, and I can take a look on Xano and see if we can figure out like where there's a bottleneck. There's a bottleneck going on somewhere. It's like there, but it's hard to tell from right now, like whether it's on the back end or the front end. Like if the front end is just not updating fast enough, or if it's not getting the data as fast as we think it is. I can't really tell at this point.
Yeah. Okay.
Carl, I have a question.
Yeah.
So you have this add like endpoint, right? And this is what you use when you click on the the like button.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, and you send the proof ID like this.
Yep.
Why?
And
maybe you were gonna ask a question.
no, go ahead. Go ahead, Dave.
Why is the go back to where you were, Rahul?
Sure. And it was proofs add a like.
Oh, I see.
Is that what you want to see?
So when you hit this endpoint, what is this returning? Or what? This is updating. This is posting to your likes table, but it's actually the role type is set as proofs. I'm wondering if maybe that's confusing things. Like it seems like if a proof is like a workout, a like is not a workout. Like a like is a like, right? It should be its own entity. So maybe like there's some confusion going on with it thinking like because Draftbit thinks of proofs as one thing when you and if it's assuming that and then trying to do something else with data that it's not expecting or whatever, there might be.
And that's what I thought, because originally I had it under likes rather than proofs, but the like or unlike button is shown based on the proof has the user like this. So I don't even think it worked with when I had it with the object type of likes.
Right. So basically, I think it should be. I mean, like how I have it in my mind. It's because we are pulling the proofs list. It should technically share the same role, because I think the list that you're displaying is also under proofs, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But when you're updating,
Right.
that's an update. It was pointing to a likes endpoint. So are you actually updating the likes table for that, or are you updating the proofs table?
Updating the likes table.
Okay, well then that's not a proof. You know what I'm saying? Like
I totally know what you're saying.
Right.
If you changed it right now, I don't even think it would work.
Probably not. You probably have to reconfigure your backend a little bit to expect that to like, but to me, it doesn't make sense that if what you're updating is a like and it's in a separate table and it's not a proof, like that should be what you like. You shouldn't be associating it with what you're not updating, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that does. I think the problem with that is if a proof would get like say thousands of likes, because if I could make the proof table have an array of likes with, or an object of likes with user, created date, like.
Mm-hmm.
But if it gets thousands of likes,
yeah, you don't want to do that. That's why you use a pivot table, like what you're doing, where it's basically the pivot table just takes the user ID or the proof ID and the user ID, and like that's the like. You know what I mean?
That's it.
It's just an association between those two tables, and then you can use that pivot table to then query, like find all likes with user ID or this, or find all likes with proof ID this, or you know what I mean?
Well, and I think that's what it is right now, right? When you say pivot table, do you mean like two different tables?
I mean, the pivot table is the table in the middle that just links the two tables. So the pivot table is the one that has just proof ID and user ID, which represents a user liking a proof. and it ties those two tables together logically so that then you can query using your pivot table. Does that make sense?
Okay, so the like pivot table would simply have the proof ID and the user ID.
Right.
But yeah, so that's what the likes table is right now. It's got the like ID
Okay.
created at,
Right.
and proof ID and user ID, and that's it.
Okay.
So that's basically.
But
right.
are you querying? How are you It sounds like you're still not querying the right way these to get the records. You know what I mean? Like you're go ahead.
Proofs, instead of having a proof on the wall with an add-on in Xano saying, is this liked by the user? I could have a fetch getting that proof and the likes to see if there is a like on that proof and the user. But that's the whole point of add-ons, is so you don't have to do
Yeah, that's not what you should be doing. I'm gonna have to look at what you got.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I'll touch base with you later on.
Yeah.
Rahul, anything came up in your mind while we were talking about that?
As I think I'm sure even Amit would be thinking the same. Like as a React developer, what we usually do in this case is we don't wait for your backend to respond if you do a like. You just change your like button based on the click, so it's an instantaneous response, and then whatever happens in the backend happens. There's one way of doing that. Like that's what like I did in some of my projects, is because this is a very real use case. Like you want immediate feedback, so you can do that here as well. But it's just that I don't want to mess around with your app too much live, so I'm like kind of not offering you that solution. But that's like a way that front end people deal with it. Like if you click on like, you immediately change the button, you do your backend call, and if your backend call was somehow a failure.
That's what I was about to say. Yeah, the only thing with that approach is then you have to listen to the response, and if the response was bad, then you have to roll back your UI changes. So,
yep.
I mean, there's always a trade-off though. So it's like,
I mean, that's like one way of handling it. There's again in programming, there's like thousands of ways of doing things, right? There's no, I wouldn't say there's one correct way of doing things. You can do things multiple ways, but yeah, that's one thing that you can do. The the Xano part, I think Dave can suggest you a better workaround because he has a lot of experience working with the Xano end. So
okay.
Yeah,
I think just chat after this, Dave.
Yep, we can do that. You got another question. I'm using the new on-screen focus trigger to redirect users from the welcome screen to the home screen if they're logged in. This works, but there's a 1 to 2 second delay. This on-screen focus action performs a request to get the user's auth key that takes Xano 0.01 seconds to complete. Is there a better practice for this? Okay, I'm going to read this one more time.
One very simple way of doing this would be again, but that's not a smart way of doing things, is like you just check your auth token global variable and see if it's populated. Then you navigate to the screen, like to your home screen, for instance. But that does not kind of guarantee you that the auth token that they have is valid or not.
That is what I do in the Xano auth, but what I do is on the screens before the like dashboard or whatever, I check to just see, do I have auth header set as a device variable? If I do, I pass them all the way through to the dashboard, but then when I hit the dashboard, then I query to check. That way, like I'm not hitting all these other pages, but like before I get, because then you have to cover like sometimes I'll sign in or log in or like onboarding or all this shit. So you don't want to be like making all these off me calls like over and over to get your way through. So does that make sense? What do you think,
Yes.
Rahul?
Oh, go ahead.
So what I don't know, I'm not sure if I understood that right. So basically, you're saying that when you uh, open your app, you're on the login screen. On the login screen, you only check if there's an auth token in the device variable. If there is an auth token, you take them to the home screen, and on the home screen, you hit the get me endpoint. And if there's a valid auth token, you let them stay on the screen. Otherwise, you will put them back to the login screen.
Yeah, otherwise I clear off header, I clear every bit of data that I have on them and stored in the device and send them back to login. So basically like resetting the entire app.
Makes sense, yeah.
I mean, like I said, the main reason I did it that way was because I didn't want to have to try to hit that off me over and over like different times. I mean, we can assume if there's an auth header that they logged in at some point, right?
Yeah.
So go ahead and send them to the main page and then have the main page check, because that's like your main entrance point, right, to your whole app.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Cool.
Yep, and you can probably have the activity indicator there too. You know, like rather than showing the home page, you can only show a spinning icon when you're checking your auth me endpoint.
Yep.
And then just the way you did it here, that should work.
That's a great idea. Okay.
All right, one more. Looks like you guys updated Draftbit's marketing site. I see a few spots for improvement. Would you want a short audit with my thoughts? If you want to hit Brian up, feel free.
I'm just going to do it and I'll send it to Brian.
Okay. He's been working feverishly, but he's got a bunch of shit that he's like trying to do all at the same time. So if it's good feedback, I'm sure he would appreciate it.
And I know it's harder when you're so deep into stuff, you know, into the product and the marketing
True.
stuff.
And we're like we've been switching lanes like pretty quickly over the last month or two, like trying different things out. So yeah.
Yeah, I get it. Okay. Well, I'll do that for fun.
Awesome. All right, dude. Anything else on your plate?
I think those were let's see here. Oh, for the circle component, is there any plan to allow like more styling to those, like conditional visibility? Because like I think I wanted to use it somewhere like.
It's a bug, to put it simply, quickly. Yeah, it's a bug. Though, like there's several components where you can't do anything really. Like you can't conditionally display it. You can't. There's a whole bunch of settings that are not available that should be. It's a bug that's been reported, or technically a bug. They should have that at least. You should be able to conditionally display anything. So we have a ticket for it.
Cool. Yeah, that's it. I don't need to bother you with roadmap questions.
Roadmap. We've got a push notification token action, right, Rahul? Push notification token. So it'll help you generate your push notification token in the action coming. We've got video chat that's going to be coming, and I think those are the two. Oh, I think we've also got YouTube video and map are both like back in the running to be worked on now that we're trying to deprecate PWAs. Basically, like we've been sitting on the maps component forever. It works and everywhere except PWAs. So it's been like sitting on a shelf basically because we couldn't support it on all the platforms. So now that we're like moving away from PWA, we can bring some of those other components back that we don't have to try to support on web.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, very cool.
Charts?
donut charts.
Well, I know that George has been working on an app that we're using internally, and he's using victory charts, and he's had very good success with victory charts. He was able to do everything he wanted. So maybe if he feels good about it, he might try to productize that into a chart component or something.
Yeah, I've got
Usually,
something, but it only has the circle charts and not line charts.
right.
Well, shoot, no, I actually have a use for line charts, and I don't want to go through all that again.
Yeah, you're using the one that the rings, right, that we did a while back. Have you tried victory charts?
I think there was some reason I didn't use them, and I went with these guys instead. Probably the design, which now like.
But I mean, you can always like for line charts, you use victory charts, and for the other one, you use the progress ring or whatever, you know.
Yeah, it was just top of my mind. No big deal.
Okay, cool. All right, man. Good to see you.
Great, thanks, guys.
All right. You doing okay, Rahul?
Yeah, man. I'm good.
All right.
We still have some time if you want to.
Yeah, I'll do some stuff for a little bit. Why not? Okay. Let me share. Oops, sorry about that. Select a window or a screen. That would be screen 1. Yeah. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay.
I can see a screen.
Okay, so I was just gonna, I've been making some, like, let me go back here. I've been making some like UI kit screens lately, and so I was gonna like basically just kind of like work on some of these cards. So we've got like this type of card. We've got a card here, this kind of card, these cards. Anyway, so I was just gonna like start building a couple of these and like let y'all watch. You can see that, right, Rahul? My Figma.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So I'm gonna, can you see this?
Yep.
Okay, so I was just gonna show you kind of like how I think about it before I start. I don't actually do this physically, I just kind of do it in my mind. But I kind of try to break down the component and think about like what is all involved. So I've got basically a view here, and that's gonna be like horizontally aligned view, and then we've got another view here, and then there's going to be, oh shit, there's going to be a view here, and a view here, and then a button inside, and then a text, and a text. You get the idea, right? So I kind of just try to think about what components I'm going to need, and then like what are they going to be, how are they going to be laid out. So this outer view is going to be a row or like a horizontal, and then this one here is going to be stacked with these. So, and this one's going to be stacked and all that stuff. So, okay. So I'll just start. Also, I was going to show you guys, if you don't know, if you're not familiar with Tailwind and you need good colors, these colors were like hand picked by a very good designer, and they were like meticulously curated. So they're like, they work very good together, and they're nice. It's a nice palette to start with. So anyway, if I'm looking for colors, I usually come here, and I'm just gonna, let me close this. Add my color. Okay, and then I was going to show you all this too. If you don't know about Unsplash, it's free photos. So if you need like photos that you can use for your backgrounds or whatever. Like it's all like basically user submitted, and you can download them for free. They like you to give attribution under the photo, but it's not required. So if you need stock photos for free, lots of good stuff here. Also, Undraw has illustrations, and these are all free, and you can like come in here and we could tell it like what's our primary color, and then it'll update all these. And then there's just tons of cool illustrations that you can download for free, SVG and PNG, and use in your apps or your designs or whatever. So a couple of cool resources for people.
Definitely, yeah.
Okay, so this is what I'm going to be building. I'm going to drag this away so I can look at it, and I'll get started. I've already got some padding on here on my screen. So looking at it, I need a view on the outside, and this view is going to have some padding, like maybe 16. And it's also got a border, thin border, and it's a divider. And we're going to give it, what? Can you not see?
No, I can see it. I was
Okay.
just mentioning that Amit mentioned that he would also like to add Lorem Pixum to the list of resources, which is,
Oh,
I think,
yeah,
another
that's true. Lorem Pixel is a good
Pix
place. Oh, yeah, Pixum. That one?
Pixum. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yep, that's another good one. And also placeholder
Mhm.
is a good one.
Oh, Carl said Tailwind colors would be great for default colors in Draftbit.
Oh God, I know. Trust me, I wish. Anyway, that's not loading. Okay, but yeah, good Amit. Nice suggestion. Okay, so this looks like it has maybe 16 or 20. That'll look less drastic when we actually put some information in it, but we'll go with that for
Okay,
now.
cool.
Gonna add
And
a
yeah, just want to give a shout out to Sean, the creator of this wonderful, uh, you know, the the radius options that now we have those sliders. So just want to say
that's
that again.
that's
I think
right.
I
Yeah,
mentioned that before. Yeah, yeah. So
very
that's pretty
awesome to
cool.
have control.
Yep.
All right, so I'm just gonna like throw stuff in here. I've got a time that goes in here and then like a little smaller text underneath it. I'm just gonna
Mhm.
stub this stuff out real quick. 10, and we'll give it a bold, bigger font, like maybe 20. And then this is gonna be 60 minutes. Yeah. And inside here, we want to center these. So I'll do that. And then inside here, we're going to put a text and another text and another text. Let me go ahead and switch this so we can see it better. All right.
Nice.
So this is going to be yoga foundation. And this one is going to be trainer Gina Taylor. And this one is, okay, so this one is actually has a icon before it, if you guys can see that.
Right.
All right, so instead of just a text here, I need to add another view and then put this text inside that view. And this view also needs to be a row. And then I can throw in an icon, put that before the text. Oh, crap. You know what? I'll just leave it. Sorry about that, guys. I was dragging too fast. It happens when I drag too fast. Okay.
Yeah, I just had that in mind. I was like, hey man, look at this guy go.
Okay, so this one needs to be centered also so that our icon and our image or our text lines up correctly. Come to our
Nice.
text. This is going to be a date. Oops. And then our icon is going to be a user. And I'll just throw a spacer in here. And make it a little bit smaller.
That's pretty cool. Can you explain what the spacer does, Dave, just so that like people who are not aware?
Yeah, the spacer just like it makes a space. It uses padding, so it
Uh-huh.
creates space inside of itself. And basically, you can use it to just keep things away from each other. I use it usually like when I have a something like this where I've got things lined up in a row.
Uh-huh.
Um, but you can also take away this spacer. First of all, let's see it a little better. So you can see the space here. It just gave some space between these two elements, but you can also
Nice.
remove that. And if we want to, we can come to the text and we can give it some margin to the left. So like
Uh-huh.
8 margin, and then that will also give us that space. So pretty much whatever you prefer.
No, that's pretty cool because I was thinking then it's a good way of like having that one component, and if you have like you can use it at different places depending on what kind of spacing that you're giving, so you don't have to like always come and set margins for each and every component every time. Just trying
Definitely.
to like find use cases for those components.
Yeah, usually like I'll use it on the outermost container, like where we have this view right here, and then we've got like 3 views inside that are all in a row. Like usually I would use a spacer between these sections, and then like as I get down into the smaller components, then I would start to use margin depending on the situation, but effectively they're the same. Spacer has the advantage of you can see it visually over here in the
Mhm.
components panel, so you can better identify like where is that space, like what component, and instead of trying to click and see, did I put it on this one or did I put the margin on this one? Although if you use good margin and padding rules, which is usually like add margin to the left or the top, then you'll
Mhm.
have a good idea of which component has the margin. But anyway, yeah, it's it's effectively the same, just preference wise, what you like. And then,
Yep.
okay, so I've got um, another view here, and this view has a button, and the button says book. And I'll make this button uh, just do all the way rounded. I'm going to take this middle view and I'm going to stretch it out. So we've got this section squished over to this side and this section squished over here, and this is taking up as much space as it possibly can. So let's take a look. I'm actually going to reduce this padding. I'm doing all this by eye, like as far as the
Mhm.
design goes. Like I'm not going in to see what the actual design is using. I'm just kind of like eyeballing everything.
Right.
So we need a border to the right of this. So I can add a right border and give it a divider color. Now we have a border. I'll come and give this maybe like a little bit of padding there. You could use margin or not, whatever you want. I usually
Mhm.
prefer padding for the inside like that. And then for this one too, we can give it a little bit of padding on the left and right, maybe a little more. Come back to this view. All right, so we've got this text and this text. They are there we go. Actually, no, that's going to take my border down. Yeah, I don't. I guess I could put the border on the other side, or I could use a divider, maybe.
Oh yeah. What's the divider? I'm sorry, I'm asking questions just so that like as a new user, guys,
Sure,
so
no,
just so that it's more helpful
no,
for
I get
everyone.
it. That's cool. I'm gonna take this off real quick, and we do have a divider. I can't remember if I've used it to do a vertical divider or not. So let's just find out if it works. All right. I basically want my divider between these two views. I'll drop it between them. All right, let's try that again.
Yep. And just so that you know, Carl, I have read your question. I'm just waiting for Dave to finish it, and then we will answer that for you as well about regarding your box shadow. Um,
You're kind of hard to hear, Rahul.
oh,
Your
sorry about
voice.
that. I hope
There you go.
is it better now?
Yeah, that's better.
All right. Yeah, I just wanted to say to Carl that hey, I have seen your question. It's just that I'm waiting for Dave to complete this wonderful design and then give you guys some good news about how you can use those designs in your app.
Cool. Yeah, I like it. So I'm going to try setting the height of this divider to 100 and see if it. Oh, sorry. That's width.
Oh, I think yeah, I think it works. Um, you might want to give it some width.
Yes. Yep. There we go.
There we go.
Okay. So then we'll come back here and kind of style this stuff a little more. This is going to be the yoga. Do semi-bold. This text will be a little smaller and not so bold, and maybe not so dark. And we'll make this icon a little bit smaller. And same with the text. It might be too light. Yeah. I always forget where the color is. All right. Anyway, let's see. I'll try to wrap up quick because I know Carl's got another answer or a question. So I'm gonna pop this down some. Anyway, there you go. Without spending too much more time, I'll keep working on that. But hopefully, it gives you some idea of how I work. Anyway, that's helpful.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. It's gonna help. It helped me. I'm sure it's gonna help some people on the community.
Awesome.
And so, are we planning on putting these components into sample screens, Dave? Is that correct?
Yeah, so what I'm going to do is I've already made some starter screens that are text inputs, like a whole bunch of different styles of text inputs. And then I'm going to make some for cards and other different types of UI elements, and then you can basically drop them in your project, and then save them as a custom block, and delete the screen, and then just have some pre-built components that are ready to go out of the box. Especially if somebody, not everybody has a design that they're starting with. They're kind of like, they have the idea, and then that's what they really want to do, is just make the idea come to life. So it's helpful if you can just like grab some inputs that look good and some cards or some styled images or whatever it is, and then throw them in there.
Yep. I think that's a fantastic idea, and I'm sure it's gonna help me out when I'm creating apps. So I think yeah, that's just fantastic. So that was the good news that I was trying to mention to everyone, that whatever we are building here would come up in your apps as well. So like what we have thought about for somewhat is some of the part in office hours we will try to devote on doing these screens live. So like you guys know how you build stuff, how we design great screens, because we have Dave here who does have a wonderful design for like eye for design. So if he'll share his knowledge how he did today. So I hope more people from our community would be able to join and see and build some fantastic looking apps. Because making an app work is one thing, making it look pretty is a completely different ball game. So
You got it.
just
That's
want
very true. You can have a well-functioning app that does amazing things, but if it doesn't look good, you're gonna have a hard time getting people to use it. Look good
to.
and work, like have a good user experience. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So yeah, and make it work, make it fast,
That's right. That's
make it pretty.
exactly how you do it. That's how I work. Yep. And then you just start over again. Okay. Well, he's got yeah. So Carl's asking about box shadow controls coming anytime soon. I haven't heard anything about it, although I would love to. I think Sean was maybe going to look at using the box shadow 2 or whatever package that was that we used for the tutorial, and maybe make a component out of that, which would be awesome. So, but I don't think we have any definite plans. Surface works, but seeing tailwind shadows reminded me of this. Yeah, it's not the same. Like the surface, they don't even call it shadow, they call it elevation. So it's like
Mhm.
it's not necessarily even a shadow. I don't know, or in their mind. Have you heard anything, Rahul, about box shadow?
Not exactly. Um, but yeah, I think that's what I have. What Dave just mentioned is like it's in the works. I mean, like we are discussing about it. It's nothing is in the works for now. But yeah, that's a good suggestion, and we can try and see if we can get this working and bring it out as a component.
Carl, have you tried using the package in your app, or are you already doing that? Not yet.
Not yet.
It's pretty simple to implement, and like you basically like create a wrapper that you can then pass whatever child you want into it. So you can like reuse that. You can just make it real simple. If you look at my tutorial, I think I did a tutorial, didn't I?
Yeah, I believe so. It should be under code snippets.
I
If
think so, yeah. But it's
yeah, if
pretty
it involves
simple.
code, let me find it out. Oh, there we go. Carl is on his game. He has already. Yeah, this is it, Carl. That's the one.
Yeah, React Shadow 2. There you go. I see. He took my, I had answered a question, and I think David took my answer and then made a tutorial out of it. So, but you can see it's basically you just create a wrapper, like a component that wraps whatever children you pass to it, and then you can configure, however configurable you want it to be. You can pass in like the radius, the offset, the colors, or have them fixed in your component.
Cool.
All right, dude. Well, are you ready to go, Rahul?
Yeah, man, we already kind of, you know, went over,
It's
but
been a
it
long
was
one today.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We made up for the short ones that we had the last few times, I guess.
Hmm.
Thanks, Carl, for joining us, man. Spread the word. All right, y'all. We'll see you later. Thanks, Rahul. Thanks, Amit and Carl. And we'll see y'all later.